Hey everybody, this is Bob with Trade Genius. Got my good friend Phil here with me, and the timing couldn't be more impeccable. Where the SEC is coming down on crypto, right when Janet Yellen has to do some maneuvering here that would affect the dollar. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned.
Trade Genius.
Hey guys, I want to tell you something that we do that really will change the way in which you look at trading and also absolutely help you increase your profitability and how much money you make. It's the Trade Genius newsletter. We put the newsletter out Sunday night through Thursday night, and this really looks at the plumbing of the markets and helps prepare you for the next trading day and help you make money. And we give you a lot of information. We give you market statistics, we give you market levels, we give you the seasonality, what's happening with different sectors of the market, and we will help you identify whether the market's in a bear mode or a bull mode, or whether it's euphoric, whether it's despondent, and it just puts you in a position to be on the right side of the trade. So take advantage of our offer that we have below, and you'll love it. I mean, one trade that you make with this thing can pay for definitely a month, maybe even a year's worth of service. It's that powerful. Use promo code podcast for 15% off the retail price of newsletter. Thanks for listening.
Okay, Phil, timing's everything. They've known all this stuff for 5 years on Binance, and now he's taking a couple shots across the bow. I think he's added some heat to it this time, and I know you put together some slides, did some research on this. And how does this affect Binance, people with Binance, but also more importantly to most people listening today is how's it going to affect Bitcoin and some of these altcoins and their value?
Yeah, and Bob, a couple of months ago we actually did a video on CZ because he was being accused of potentially fraudulently commingling funds, and then sure enough today here we are, the SEC is charging him with exactly that. So this has been brewing, like you said, it's been brewing for a little while. But if we slide over to this slide, I'll give you the details here. The Securities and Exchange Commission filed 13 charges against Binance and CZ, he's the owner, CEO, alleging that they commingled billions of dollars worth of user funds and then sent them to a European company controlled by Zhao, which is CZ. They said that they worked to subvert their own controls to allow high net worth investors and customers to continue to trade on Binance's unregulated international exchange, showing a blatant disregard for federal law. It also complains that Zhao violated critical provisions of federal security laws, including self-dealing and market manipulation through Merit Peak Limited, which is his basically controlled company and they're saying that's where he's been commingling funds and things like that. So it's 13 charges. Now, one interesting thing out of all of this has been that they are basically saying they're calling out specific tokens here, which I thought was interesting. And I think what this means, guys, is we're going to see more tokens being called out as securities, because this list in the complaint, it said including but not limited to. So I would expect more tokens to be called out in the near future. But it was BNB, BUSD, Sol, ADA, Matic, Filecoin, Atom, Sand, Mana, Algo, AXS, and Cody. So that's a interesting selection there. I think you can probably, if you're familiar with alts, if some of those are listed, that would probably mean some other ones are listed too, because of just the type of token that they are. Now, of course, Binance responded. So here's that slide. It says Binance just basically saying SEC chose to file a complaint instead of working with them. They've been working with them for nearly 2.5 years in good faith, and the SEC is basically has a baseless lawsuit. So we'll find out, because if CZ actually was commingling funds, that's a big deal. I do find it ironic, though, that the exchange that didn't really run off with customer funds is the exchange getting sued by the SEC, because, Bob, where were they when FTX was going crazy, right? And who was he meeting with? He wasn't meeting with CZ, he was meeting with Sam Bankman-Fried. And I find that, don't you find that interesting, Bob?
It's amazing. And it brings the question to me, does Zhao or any of these Binance people have any assets in the U.S. at all? I'm just confused, because we all got chased off of Binance a while ago.
Yeah, so he doesn't, and he's been very careful about having anything in the U.S. The Binance.us is a licensed entity, and they specified that no user funds are at risk there. But he's been very careful to stay completely away from the U.S. And I don't even know if he's ever landed in the US. I know recently he hasn't. He's been staying far, far away. So it's very interesting. I just think that it's not a good look for Gary Gensler and the SEC, right? It just kind of smells of corruptness here. But that being said, most people want to know, okay, well, what's going to go on with the price of Bitcoin and these alts and crypto and Ethereum? So why don't we dive into the chart here and take a look? And I'm just going to give you a real brief technical overview of what we're looking at. And I think most of the crypto is going to follow suit with what happens here. So let's dive into that. All right, so this is a chart of Bitcoin. I'm going to keep it really simple, guys. So what I'm showing you here is what I call the quarterly VWAP and the quarterly VWAP bands. VWAP, if you're not familiar with it, is volume weighted average price. I like it because it's, showing you where volume and price are interacting. Okay. And so basically the band is just, one standard deviation away from the VWAP. But you'll notice that they were distributing up here as we got up into the 30K area, right? But we started to distribute. We created a range. Now, if you're a believer in going higher, then we should short squeeze out of this range and start moving up toward, 40s, right? Because that's where our 50% retracement would be from the market bear low to the most recent all-time highs. But if we're losing this range, then we're going to start to accept into this rectangle area. Now, what this is last quarter's VWAP range. Okay. So that is the range that if you start to accept into that, you can expect with reasonable certainty that you're going to probe down into this range. Ideally, you might not see any lower than 22,600, which is roughly this quarterly VWAP from last quarter. If that doesn't hold, then I would expect a sweep down below 20K. Now, not in a straight line, of course, but that's basically what we're facing here when we lose this area above. So you can see this quarterly VWAP range has held support here pretty well 2 times here, but now on the 3rd time, we've got problems. So not only do we have FUD, we also have the equity markets that are way over their skis, and they could easily pull back a couple hundred points from here. And Bitcoin's going to be going down with that as well because it's still sympathetic with the equity market. So I think here, guys, the risk now is going to be losing this 25,700, 800 area and falling down toward that larger VWAP level of 22,600. Those are significant levels when you're dealing with quarterly and yearly VWAPs. So I do expect that to hold for a bounce. You can see a couple $1,000 move off that. But I think right now this is a pretty bearish picture here. Of course, FUD seems to hit at just the right times in terms of the technicals and kind of amplifies the situation. So don't be surprised if we do pull back further here. There is some decent support in here, but if it doesn't hold and we start losing 25, I think this move is going to start to manifest. First spot in between will be somewhere between 24.5 and 24. Okay, that'll probably be your first speed bump. But below that, Bob, I think we're going to be playing with 22.5 on Bitcoin.
Yeah, and you're looking then probably Mara trying to go down and fill that gap in the mid 7s. And that would be probably a load to boat time for Mara.
Yeah, probably a good week for that miner video, Bitcoin miner video, because I think we are going to be looking at a pullback opportunity on those so we can maybe target some levels for these guys.
Sure. Yeah, let's do that this week if we can.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this video. You got the Binance FUD, you got equity markets topping out, and you got Bitcoin entering a bearish area on the technicals. So there you have it. If you're interested in joining us in the room for more day-to-day type technical analysis, head over to tradegenius.co, check out our packages, and sign up and get in the room. Thanks, Bob. We'll see you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.
Trade Genius.